Chris Vince, you're back in your old ward. You're with the chair of the Labour Party. You're knocking on doors. What's coming up on the doors for Little Pardon?
Well, as you probably know, it's still my ward. I live here and it's my community, so I'm delighted to be back out knocking on doors. As you know, I really, really enjoy this. Any opportunity to be out knocking on doors, talking to residents. And the big thing that has come up with me today, actually, knocking on doors, has been concerns, obviously, about the roadworks going on in Harlow and kind of what the timescale on that is like. And obviously, as someone that lives in the ward, I can sympathise for that, because clearly that work needs doing. We want to see improved infrastructure for Harlow, but clearly that is causing disruption in the short term, and particularly, getting around the roundabout at Sainsbury's and obviously the road closure around Kilton Way has caused issues for residents in this area. They feel kind of like a little bit cut off because they can't get across town as easily as they would do normally.
I asked you're here with the chair of the Labour Party, Ellie Reeves, and I asked her about winter fuel allowance. Am I simply going to get the same answer as you about a £22 billion pack? Because it's not really washing with residents, is it?
Well, again, it generally isn't something that I've had a conversation on the doorstep about today, but we do have to make difficult choices. That's unfortunately how government works. And everyone knows that the mess that the Labour government has inherited. I think we can see that. And, I could talk about the £22 billion black hole, but actually I don't need to, because we can see across the board the failure of the last Labour government. You won't be surprised to hear me, last Tory government, you won't be surprised to hear me say the issues with schools, clearly. And I don't just mean structurally. I mean, SFG is a good example of that, but we know the issues in schools. So I think there are going to be some difficult decisions to make, but I also want to highlight the positives that the Labour government have begun already. Again, starting with education, clearly getting rid of, I'm a big believer that getting rid of those Ofsted single word judgments are a massive thing. And I'm actually really excited that when we come back to Parliament after recess, we're going to be introducing the Renters Reform Bill. We're actually going to be supporting renters. As someone that worked for Streets Homes, working for a homeless charity, I saw that the huge issues, and particularly with no fault evictions. So I think there's a lot to be positive about, but we also recognise there are going to be hard choices.
I think I did say to Ellie Reeves about maybe the media dictating the narrative. Is that, I know we're here as the media and we've already got all those points across. So, but is that do you feel you really have to press home what you've done in 12 weeks, as well as fend off criticism?
I think that criticism is always going to be there, and unfortunately, sometimes criticism sells newspapers, and we have to recognise that. But I think that yourself and other journalists will hopefully do that in a fair way and actually report some of the good things that we're doing as well. And I'm sure that they will. And I think there's plenty of good news stories that we can put forward. But of course, it's our job as a Labour Party to talk about the things that the Labour government are doing. I mean, you and I are to extend political boundary acts. Obviously, I am. I'm an MP. Probably am, aren't I? But for most people, they don't think about politics on a daily basis. They don't necessarily recognise all the things that are happening until perhaps they start to see those improvements, and obviously that will take time.
Just one more thing, Chris. When you had a leaflet at the general election, you said we will be getting a new hospital. There was no asterisks like terms and conditions apply. There may be review. So. Did you get elected on false pretences?
Well, as I said to you before, if the money's there for a new hospital, we will get a new hospital. But if the money isn't there for a new hospital, the Tories have got questions to answer. I think the Tories have got questions to answer, frankly. I'm still confident and positive about the fact we're getting a new hospital. West Streeting recommitted to that last week. However, we do have to be realistic about the timescale. What we don't want to do is give the public false promises about that timescale. We want to be honest, we want to be transparent, and that's something that West Streeting is very keen to do.